Two people match on an app. They text for 3 days, funny, easy, no pressure. Then one of them goes quiet for a week. The other doesn't chase, just goes quiet back. Neither one is angry. Neither one brings it up when they eventually resume talking. This is what it looks like when two avoidants date. Nobody's pursuing, nobody's asking where things stand. And that absence of pursuit isn't peace. It's two nervous systems agreeing, without ever discussing it, to keep the relationship exactly as unthreatening as possible. Most avoidant people have spent past relationships being the one who pulls back while someone else pushes forward. The pursuit itself is what feels unbearable. The texts asking, "Are we okay?" The need for reassurance, the sense of being chased down for an emotional response they don't have ready. So when an avoidant dates another avoidant, the immediate sensation is relief. Nobody's asking anything of them. Nobody's monitoring how long it takes to reply. There's no one standing at the door of the relationship, checking whether they're still in it. This relief gets mistaken for compatibility. It isn't. It's the absence of the one dynamic they've learned to dread, which is not the same as the presence of connection. Two people can feel deeply comfortable around each other while the relationship itself never develops past a certain point. Because development requires someone to initiate it, and initiating anything, a conversation about the future, a request for more time together, a name for what this is, requires exactly the kind of vulnerability both people are structured to avoid. There's a specific kind of comfort in the early weeks of an avoidant-avoidant relationship, one that's genuinely different from any other pairing. Conversations don't drift into what are we territory. Neither person asks for a label after 3 dates. Plans stay loose without either person reading loose plans as a warning sign. For someone who has spent years feeling like relationships are a performance under surveillance, always one slow reply away from a conversation about distance, this can feel, for the first time, like being allowed to just exist near another person without being evaluated for it. That's exactly what makes the pairing so easy to misread as ideal. Two avoidant people can go months without a single one of the conflicts that usually flag a relationship as struggling. No jealousy, no arguments about time spent apart, no one demanding more communication than the other is able to give. From a distance, it looks like two emotionally healthy adults who've simply found someone who respects their space. Underneath it, though, is a quieter mechanism. Both people have unconsciously agreed to keep the relationship shallow enough that it never asks either of them to risk anything. In an anxious avoidant pairing, there's a pursuer and a distancer, and the tension is loud. It shows up as arguments, as late-night texts, as one person feeling too much and the other feeling cornered. In an avoidant-avoidant pairing, the tension is silent, and that silence is precisely what makes it so easy to miss. Neither person initiates the harder conversations, so the relationship drifts along at whatever depth it reached in its first few weeks. Neither person asks for more time, more commitment, more clarity, because asking implies need, and need is the exact thing both of them have spent years learning to suppress. So instead, both people wait. Each one is quietly hoping the other will be the one to move things forward, while presenting as though they're perfectly fine with things staying exactly where they are. This is the standoff at the centre of every avoidant-avoidant relationship. Two people who both want more, most of the time, but who would rather lose the relationship slowly through neglect than risk the exposure of naming what they want. Nobody loses face. Nobody gets rejected outright. The relationship simply erodes, quietly, at a pace slow enough that neither person has to admit it's happening. What makes the standoff especially durable is that both people can point to the other's behaviour as evidence they're right to hold back. One partner thinks they haven't brought up the future either, so clearly they're not that invested. The other partner is thinking the identical thought about the identical silence and drawing the identical conclusion. Neither one realises they're both reading the same absence of initiation as proof of the other's lower investment, when in reality it's proof of nothing except that both of them are waiting for permission neither one is willing to give first. Avoidant people are often praised, including by themselves, for being independent, low maintenance, easygoing, not the type to smother a partner. In an avoidant relationship, this self-image gets reinforced from both directions. Neither partner ever crowds the other, so both walk away from the relationship telling themselves it's proof they're simply not needy people. But there's a difference between genuine independence and distance used as protection. Genuine independence means someone can be close to another person and still maintain their own identity, their own space, their own life outside the relationship. Distance as protection means someone keeps space between themselves and another person specifically, so they never have to find out what it feels like to depend on someone and be let down. The two look identical from the outside. A weekend spent apart, plans made loosely, a slow pace toward exclusivity, all of it can be either a sign of two secure people respecting each other's autonomy or two frightened people making sure neither one gets close enough to cause real damage if it ends. The tell is usually what happens when real intimacy becomes available. A secure or securely leaning person offered more closeness moves toward it. Two avoidant people offered more closeness often both quietly step back at the same time. Not because they don't want it, but because wanting it is the part that feels dangerous. There's also a specific version of this that shows up in how avoidant couples talk about each other to friends and family. Both partners tend to describe the relationship in terms of what it doesn't require of them. We're not the clingy type. We give each other space, neither of us is dramatic, rather than in terms of what draws them together. Ask either partner what they actually love about the other, and the answer often circles back to the same theme. They don't demand much. That's a real compatibility, but it's a compatibility of avoidance, not of connection, and the two get mistaken for each other constantly. Every relationship has small ruptures. A comment that lands wrong, a plan that falls through, a moment where one person feels slightly hurt by the other. In most relationships, these get repaired through some version of a conversation. One person names what happened, the other responds, and the moment passes. In an avoidant relationship, ruptures rarely get named at all. Both people have learned that raising an issue risks conflict, and conflict risks the kind of emotional intensity they associate with losing control or being trapped. So instead of naming the rupture, both people privately note it, quietly file it away, and continue as if nothing happened. This looks, from the outside, like an unusually low conflict relationship. Two people who never fight. What's actually happening is an accumulation, dozens of small, unaddressed moments building into a private ledger each person keeps but never shows the other. Eventually, one of two things happens. Either the relationship simply fades, undone by an accumulation of unspoken resentment that neither person can point to a single cause for, or something eventually forces the ledger into the open, often something disproportionately small, a missed birthday, a cancelled plan, and it triggers a reaction that seems wildly out of scale to the actual incident. What's really happening is the incident is standing in for everything that came before it, none of which was ever said out loud. The cruelty of this pattern, if it can be called that, is that both people are usually capable of repair. They're just each waiting for the other to go first, and neither one recognises that the other is doing exactly the same calculation. A single named rupture, addressed while it's still small, would very likely resolve in minutes. Left to accumulate for months, the same rupture becomes evidence in a case neither partner knew the other was building. Sometimes one person in an avoidant pairing starts to change, through therapy, through reading, through simply getting tired of relationships that quietly dissolve. They begin naming things. They ask for a conversation about where things are heading. They express for the first time that they want more closeness than the relationship currently offers. This moment is a genuine test of the pairing, and it tends to go one of two ways. In some cases, the other partner, given explicit permission and a clear invitation rather than pressure, is able to meet the moment, because it turns out the second avoidant partner wanted the same things, but never had the internal permission to ask for them either. Having someone else go first, take the risk and survive it, can be exactly the evidence an avoidant nervous system needs to believe that closeness doesn't automatically end in loss of self. In other cases, the newly vulnerable partner's request is experienced by the other as pressure, and the original relief that defined the relationship disappears. The distancing partner pulls further back, precisely because the relationship has stopped being the low-demand space it used to be. This isn't cruelty, it's the same mechanism that made the relationship feel safe in the first place, now reacting to the fact that safety has a cost attached to it. Timing matters more in this moment than almost anything else. A request made calmly, once without an ultimatum attached, lands very differently from the same request made after months of quiet resentment have already built up. By the time frustration has hardened into something closer to contempt, the ask stops sounding like an invitation and starts sounding like an indictment. And an indictment is exactly the kind of thing an avoidant nervous system is built to defend against, not lean into. An avoidant-avoidant relationship doesn't need one partner to become the anxious pursuer to survive. That would just recreate the dynamic from a different angle, trading one uneven pattern for another. What it needs is for both people to practice small, low-stakes acts of initiation deliberately before the stakes get high enough to matter. That can look as simple as one person naming a minor preference out loud instead of defaulting to, "I don't mind either way." It can look like bringing up a small disappointment the same day it happens instead of filing it away. It can look like one partner saying plainly that they'd like to see the other more often, without wrapping it in enough hedging that it's easy to ignore. None of these require either person to become someone they're not. They just require both people to practice being seen wanting something, in amounts small enough that being seen doesn't feel catastrophic. The relationships that survive this pairing are rarely the ones where somebody finally becomes braver in one dramatic conversation. They're the ones where both people, slowly and separately, get more comfortable being the one who speaks first. Two avoidants dating each other isn't doomed, and it isn't automatically peaceful either. It's a relationship built on an unspoken agreement that neither person will ask for very much, which works right up until one of them needs more. Next time, we're looking at the pairing considered to have the best shot at real security, avoidant and secure, and why so much of whether that pairing works comes down to whether the avoidant partner is willing to do the work at all.